So we're going to start by exploring the space around us. So please start gingerly trying to explore the space around you. It doesn't matter if you run into somebody. The whole idea is to try and see sort of where you belong. The idea of a public space is always a question of what I call lawscaping, which is this idea of creating one's norms and exploring the space as one goes along. So when we were earlier playing with the tea trolleys, for example, that's exactly the kind of understanding of exploring a public space. But as soon as you start exploring it, you start appropriating it. So it is through this process of lawscaping that every public space becomes ultimately appropriated. We are bodies that we need to move, and also we need to come together with other bodies in order to create larger bodies, collected bodies, stronger bodies. The struggle for the same space at the same time, which is my definition of spatial justice, why it is that there's this desire to be exactly where you are and at exactly the same time as you are. But then if you think about it, this is precisely the key to all geopolitics, access to resources, the division between the occupied territories of Palestine and Israel, the idea of the war between Mexico and the US, but also the idea of the tree that falls over somebody else's garden. The idea of one norm and one way of doing things, because of our desire to do that, that's where colonialism comes in. And that's how the whole idea of expansionism, etc., come in, because you constitute one body against other bodies. The idea of spatial justice is not to bring you to a moment where every body will find the perfect place and will stay there. Because if you think of this amazing holy city, the city of God, for example, where everyone is happily positioned in one place and everyone sings in harmony with everyone else, I mean, what a bore. You don't want to be part of that thing. You want to be moving, and you want not conflict, but you want difference. I think spatial justice is an archetype. It's a fundamental desire to feel rightly positioned, to feel that you are well with the bodies around you. It is so hard, though, to do it in a way that does not fall into displacement, into the violence of exclusion, and indeed the guilt that comes from it. It's just about being here. We can stop, even for a little while. We can take a deep breath and say that it's okay to stop. But the problem is that as soon as you do that, then you fix everything. You coagulate everything into an atmosphere. As soon as you start doing that, you start building walls. You start putting English channels between you. You start putting South England versus North England. You start doing all these things constantly. And that is why you need to carry on moving. That's why spatial justice is not a moment where you arrive, but is a constant repetition, both of the violence as well as that little breath that allows you to situate yourself.